Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. Coming to you live here. Not many people pick up on that. It's a lot of people just sit there; they're not really sure, but you got it down. So big props to you for that. Thank you all for joining us today. We're bringing you live coverage here from the Gama convention in Reno, Nevada. All the board game coverage, insider information, and behind-the-scenes scoops. But first up, let's get some introductions going. As usual, I'm your host Matt, and I am joined with Justin from UltraPro. How you doing today, Justin?
Great. How you doing?
Pretty good. A little busy, but you know that's how
that's the show. That's the show. It's exciting.
Convention's been treating you good so far.
It's amazing. It's really every time I come to the show and I have a new game to show off and I can start seeing reactions from people. It's always I work hard all year to kind of make these moments happen. So it's fantastic.
Awesome. So let's jump into this right now. I see you got some stuff set up on the table over here.
I do.
We're going to be showing off Shards of Infinity today.
That's right.
So can you tell us a little bit, what is Shards of Infinity?
Sure. So Shards of Infinity is a deck building game, and I assume most of the audience is familiar with deck building games.
Absolutely.
I actually started my company, Stoneblade Entertainment, launching Ascension, our deck building game, which has been now. We're doing our 13th expansion. It's been running for 8 or 9 years.
So you got a little bit of content.
A little bit of content, a little bit of experience with it. And so this is the first new deck building game that I've designed since Ascension, and I'm trying to take a lot of the things I've learned over the years and throw in some new twists and kind of evolve the genre. So that's what we got. And it's not even released yet. It's coming out April 2nd.
Very cool. So you're ironing out some of the wrinkles that you noticed from your original release of Ascension and trying to add in some new things.
And it's a little bit of a shift. Like I love Ascension, and we kind of we try to improve it every year as we do the new expansions. But there's some things that the Ascension engine sort of drives towards, and I wanted to be able to get some different kinds of experiences. And so, sort of like if I was starting today, how would I design an Ascension? How did I design a deck building game from scratch? And that's what Shards of Infinity is.
Very cool. So let me jump over and change the camera over to the board there, so we can get an up-close look at some of the components.
Awesome.
So give us the spiel. What am I looking at?
Yeah. So one of the coolest things you might notice is very different from other deck building games is you've got these awesome giant character cards that have spin wheels on them. And if you want to do a close-up on that, so this one is Tetra. We have one thematically for each of the different factions. You have a health rating. You can see there is a set to 50, and you have a mastery rating. The health is pretty straightforward. If you just knock all of your opponent's health down to 0, you win the game, right? You get knocked down to 0, you're out of the game. So that's kind of the basics. One of the differences between this and Ascension is that in Ascension, you're all attacking monsters and trying to earn honor. Here, you're attacking each other and trying to destroy each other.
A little bit more of a free-for-all
going on. Yeah, a little bit more of a free-for-all thing. So there's a lot more fun dynamics to come out of that. The second tracker there, the mastery tracker, that's actually one of the biggest innovations of this game. So what that does is instead of, each turn you're allowed to spend 1 gem, which is kind of the money resource, that to increase your mastery rating by 1, and mastery makes all of your cards more powerful. Mm-hmm. So, for example, one of these cards in the center here we can try to highlight is Aetherbreaker, and it actually typically will give you 4 power, but if you have 10 mastery or more when you play it, it gives you 8 power instead.
Oh, nice.
And in fact, the cards in your starting deck right now, again, I'm just assuming your audience is familiar with deck building games in general, but usually the cards in your starting deck are the least impressive thing going on, right? They're not very exciting. You pretty much want to get rid of them if you can.
Just enough to get you started.
Right, just enough to get you started. But with the mastery power, we're actually able to have those cards increase in power as they go.
Oh, so they're going to ramp up and not be quite so useless as the game progresses.
Exactly. So this the Shard Reactor here starts off giving you 2 gems, but after you have 5 mastery, it gives you 3 instead. If you have 15 mastery, it gives you 4. So even your starting cards get more powerful. And then I've got to show off, of course, the namesake of the game. The game's called Shards of Infinity. Every player starts with an Infinity Shard. And the story of the game is that there was a weapon of ultimate power called the Infinity Engine that got destroyed, and you're one of the few people to pick up one of the shards. And if you can master it and rebuild it, you get infinite power and then can kill everybody else around you that opposes you. Fantastic. So, as you see, if you get to 30 mastery on this card, it actually produces infinite power. So it's one of the ways to win is to get to 30 mastery, draw the Infinity Shard, and wipe out all the other players in the game.
Nice.
So it creates a really great tension, and it's allowed me to do a couple things. So you'll notice every other deck building game in the market has some extra piles of cards you have to deal with, right? Like Dominion has like 37 of them, even Ascension has a few, right? You have to do that, so you have something to do with your resources when there's nothing good in the center. Right. We got rid of all of that, right? Just being able to pay 1 gem for an extra mastery on every hero card gives you something to do if the center row is not there, and it lets you improve your deck even when there's not cards you necessarily want.
Oh, very cool. So it's not so much of a wasted turn per
Exactly. And there's a trade-off, right? Do you want a better card now, or do you want to increase your mastery and make all of your cards better in the future? So that's one of the big innovations for the game. In addition, we have cards that are mercenaries. We'll highlight one of those.
Abstractor.
Yeah, so mercenaries are a cool mechanic. They have a red circle around the cost there. So just like in every deck building game, you can acquire them and bring them into your deck. They go to your discard pile, you reshuffle and draw them. Or with a mercenary, you can pay its cost and play it immediately out of the center row.
Oh.
In which case you get the effect right away. However, instead of going into your deck, it goes down onto the bottom of the center deck.
Oh, so it becomes a one-time use.
Exactly, right? So it creates some really interesting strategic choices. For example, a lot of times you want to take a card not because you want it for your deck, but because you don't want your opponent to have it, and it's actually not that good in your deck. So playing it as a mercenary, getting the effect and not having to clog your deck with it is great. Also, as the game progresses, sometimes just getting something to happen right now is really critical. So you can create some really cool moments out of that. The other thing that's cool, so as I mentioned, you attack players. We also have champion cards.
Hopefully the yellow doesn't green screen too bad for us there.
I can see if I can find one.
That's not too bad.
All right. Here's another cool one that maybe will show up better. Or not.
I have to say the name for me on that one.
Oh, yeah. So these ones are actually cool. So this one's what? Kutul, the Formless.
There we go.
So we actually have each of the factions has their own philosophy, and if you go to Shards of Infinity on Facebook or shardsofinfinity.com, we have stories around each of the main characters and the backstories and stuff. And the Wraith faction are all kind of nihilist-like, and actually their names are anagrams of various nihilist things. So
really?
Zerara, the Soul Flayer, Zarathustra, and they have a bunch of funny ones. So anyway, you can kind of piece that together. So those cards have a health rating. So when you play them, they stay in front of you and they give you a benefit every turn. But your opponent's going to attack them using power to knock them out and put them in your discard pile, so you have to draw them again. And then the last big innovation for this is the shield cards. Oh wait, of course I gave you a green one. I'm not going to give you a green one. We're going to give you a not green one. Here we go. Shield ratings. So there's some other games out there that let you attack players, and you can have maybe some cards in play that can protect you. We have those cards with the shield symbol that if they're in your hand when you get attacked, you can reveal it to prevent that much damage from the attack. So it's actually your opponent doesn't necessarily know if you're able to defend or not, which actually creates some cool tension and moments and things like that.
So you don't have to play everything out on the table. You could have some hidden elements as well.
Exactly. So that's kind of an overview. Again, assuming you have some familiarity with deck building games, it gives you the kind of highlights of what differentiates Shards from everything else. And of course, like myself and my team, we have a pro Magic background and have been playing competitive games forever. So we design these things so that they're fun and easy to pick up, but that there's a lot of deep strategy, a lot of different things that you can kind of do and ways to react to your opponent's playing. So if you notice that they're accelerating their mastery quite a bit, you might want to be able to try attacking them early. If you notice that somebody's building up a lot of power, you might want more shields and life gain. And so there's a lot of reaction and a lot of things a lot more interactivity than a lot of these kinds of games.
So is that what led you to make Shards of Infinity? Is you wanted more of that interactivity going on, as well as building on what you've learned with Ascension?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I wanted to have a game where you could actually do direct attacking and really interact with players directly. And honestly, the mastery mechanic, once I kind of came up with that idea, I thought was really changed the whole equation, right? Because the fact that deck building games, the fun of a deck building game is very much that experience of getting better over time, right? You start building a strategy, you start putting some cards together, and you can feel that momentum as you refine it forward. But it's always bothered me that the only way to kind of repair the starting cards or handle things is by getting rid of them. And also, a lot of games become degenerate because if you happen to get a really big, powerful card early, it snowballs, and then that helps you get more cards, and that it spirals out of control. But by putting the most powerful cards under a mastery threshold, the game pacing is sort of more normalized, and so there's this.
It forces you to ramp up.
Exactly. So it controls the game length, it controls the pacing of the game a lot better. It stops. Well, of course, you can still get lucky, and there's all of that element in the game. It makes it a lot more strategic. There's a lot more depth to going on with it, and it's allowed me to get rid of all the externals. No extra piles of cards, no extra stuff. All you've got is your cool little...
It's very slim for a deck builder that we got out here, because, so many deck builders you see is just you have a mountain of cards that you're having to sift through. And
right, sort different piles to start and everything, and I just want to get rid of that and, get to the fun, get to the playing. And also with this game, because we're able to build it so lean, it's only $19.99 for a 4-player deck building game, which is pretty much as cheap as you can get.
Yeah.
But we put in high quality components and the spin wheels and full on art, and we spent like 18 months kind of building out the world and trying to make something that's a really awesome experience that people can get hooked on.
So talk to me a little bit more about the world here in Shards of Infinity, the background, the lore, the characters that we're seeing here.
Yeah, so as I kind of highlighted, the different hero characters that you get to play as are kind of the leaders of the different factions. So each faction has its own sort of philosophy and part in this story that it's played. So there's the Order, which is that Tetra character we showed off earlier, that has is a sort of data monk kind of philosophy. You see how she's like kind of jacked into the system and meditating, but also has a bunch of dead bodies lying around her.
It's kind of like cyberpunky space feel.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're going for it's not they're not going into space, but it is kind of a future tech magic world, which is something I've always kind of been attracted to. And so then you have your kind of like more machine than man faction with Decima, and they like to build these sort of champions and giant mechs. And,
boy.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Trust me, the guys, the cards look a lot better in real life. They build lots of cyborgs. They have like drone robots. Their cities are actually designed to like fly and change shape to fight off invaders. We have our super green card, which is
if you put it in that camera there.
Okay, here we go.
There we go. Do that.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is Volos, and he's in charge of the Undergrowth, and they are kind of rebelling against technology because the Infinity Engine, like basically when it got destroyed, it was like this cataclysm that almost destroyed the world, and so they are trying to sort of retake over things for nature and magic and less in the tech world. And then, as I mentioned, our nihilist friends, the Wraith, they have sort of like they're half otherworldly, so a lot of their top warriors are actually made out of almost pure energy, and they have these suits that kind of allow them to maintain form in this world.
Really cool.
So they're super badass, and they do a lot of damage and attacking, and kind of can like really warp the game pretty fast. So that's kind of the top line. And again, if anybody's really interested in the lore, come to our Facebook page, Shards of Infinity, or shardsofinfinity.com, and we have a lot of links and stories and like some really great backstory. One of the things when I built Ascension, I pre-built 3 years of story into it. Like it really paid off because we were able to kind of tell these arcs and move things forward. But I've been making Ascension for 9 years now. Like we had to like backtrack and kind of make some new stuff up and figure it out as we went along. And so Shards, I'm really designing to kind of be in for the long haul as well. And so we've got already kind of a 5-year arc planned of stuff we want to do, and we already have the first expansion is in the works, and it'll be out probably later this year, October-ish. And so it's building out that world and making it something that people can really get attached to and connected with, in addition to great gameplay, is something we're really committed to.
Fantastic. And for everyone watching at home, where can we find Shards of Infinity?
Great question. So it's not in stores yet. It is actually releasing on April 2nd. So go to your friendly local game store and ask them to carry it, because they can still order it now. That's actually why we're here at Gama, is that we're showing it off to the retailers for the first time, and everybody that's here is ordering it. But if you're at home and you're not sure if your retailer is going to have it, I highly recommend letting them know. And then, of course, it'll be available online, and we'll have it on our website and everything too. So shardsofinfinity.com will get you there. But we want to really push people to play in the stores and support their stores.
Absolutely. So you heard it here, folks. Go and bother your friendly local game stores. If they don't have Shards of Infinity coming their way, tell them they need to have it coming their way.
And I'm going to show also, for those that are interested, we have the stores can be part of the UltraPro store program, and they get cool things like this mouse pad, Shards of Infinity mouse pad. If they sign up this month, they get this for free. They also get a promo card that'll be included with everybody that if you purchase Shards, if they pre-ordered it, there'll be an extra promo card that comes with it, and you get a chance to actually play and compete against people in the store. So those are super fun. And I'll tell you what, just for your viewers, we'll also give away one of these. You guys can give away along with a copy of Shards. So that's another way to get it, is watch this show.
Fantastic. So we'll be having a giveaway when we get back to our studio sometime next week. So is there anything else you want to talk about for Shards of Infinity before we move on to the other game that you brought for us this afternoon?
I think that's the big highlights. Of course, if anybody wants to reach out, I mentioned the Facebook page. I'm personally monitoring it, and we're responding to stuff. So if you guys have questions or other things you want to do, just kind of reach out to us there. And I can't wait to get this in people's hands. Let us know what you think.
Fantastic. So I think this is going to be a pretty substantial shift in gears here.
Yes.
Going from Shards of Infinity to I see a box shaped like a kitty cat.
Oh yes, you gotta be kidding me. The Deluxe Edition. Let me see if we can get this on the screen here. Get these. Oh yeah, look how cute that is. It is literally a cat shaped in. It is adorable. So I love working on a variety of projects. I really don't, I never want to kind of just do the same thing over and over again. So, and as much as I love working on Ascension, I love doing things like Shards of Infinity. When I try to show them to my family, they're happy for me, but it's not exactly a game that they can handle.
I definitely know the feeling.
Right, and so when you're in casual crowds and working with people that aren't necessarily as core gamers, or you're working with a group that's a big group, right? So this You Gotta Be Kidding Me is a great game to break out. So we actually released the original version a year and a half ago, and it's doing so well. People really loved it. So we actually are now relaunching it as a Deluxe Edition, which includes an entire extra deck of cards and this adorable little tin and some cute, cool components. So I'm going to guess most people aren't as familiar with this as deck building games in general. So let's show off some of these cute cards.
Okay, so I see some cats wearing glasses here.
Yes, so these adorable little animals have different accessories on them. There are bow ties, hats, and glasses, and they are either green, red, of course. That's awesome. Green is great. They're either green, red, or blue. And then the game, if you're familiar with games like Liar's Dice, the objective is this game's kind of like a cross between Liar's Dice and Uno, right? Everybody will have a hand of cards. You'll make a bid based on how many of a given symbol or color you think are in everybody's hands combined. And then, so for example, let's say if I have this hand here, I've got this 4 of glasses card and a 1 of glasses card, so I have 5 glasses in my hand. I might make a bid of, say, 6 glasses, assuming you had at least 1. And then we would go around the table, and you would have to say a higher bid than me.
Right.
But you don't have to say the same thing, so you could say 7 hats or 8 blue, right? You can say colors as well as symbols.
Okay.
And then it'll keep going around the table until at some point the numbers are way too big, like you're saying, it's 27 hats, and then the next person can say...
Wait, let me guess. Is it You Gotta Be Kidding Me?
You gotta be kidding me! All right, see, you're on the ball. I like it. And so that, at which point you all reveal you'll reveal the cards in your hands. You see whether the bid was correct. If the bid is correct, meaning that there's at least that many out there, then the person who challenged, who said you got to be kidding me, loses a card for the next hand. Otherwise, if there's not that many, then the person who bid loses a card for the next hand. Oh yeah, and the one key factor, in addition to all the cards in everybody's hands, you will also reveal the top card of the deck, and it gets added to the mix.
Okay. So there's some public knowledge as well.
Yeah, there's some hidden information that you only find out after the call. So it keeps things exciting. Yeah. Yeah, that makes things exciting. So even though you do the count, it could be like, oh, we're 1 off or we're 2 off, and if you can get lucky and get the right card, you can still win.
There's
so
a little extra money.
Yeah, it creates those exciting, like, rah, kind of moments in games, which I always love. And then, as I mentioned, it's kind of like a cross between Uno and Liar's Dice. We also have these funky little cards like Draw 3, and so you get to draw 3. We have Go Fish, where you can try to take cards, guess what cards in somebody else's hands. We have a skip. We have just lots of cute little. This one's one of my favorites, Double Trouble, with cute 2 little guys that doubles all the value of the cards in your hand. I love this camera color thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the wild card.
Oh, this is going to look really interesting.
The wild card, which is a wild cat, get it? Yeah. Which counts for 1 of anything. So there's a lot of cute little things like that. The game, the original game was $9.99. This one's $19.99. It has 2 decks, both the original deck with all the original cards, and then a second deck with has all more crazy cards and wacky effects, and they can be played separately or combined. So it's just a really cute. This is like a great family kind of gathering game, and a nice lighter touch. So depending upon your preferences, you want a serious game that's still playable in 20-30 minutes for 2 to 4 players for $19.99, same pricing. You got Shards of Infinity. If you're looking for something more fun and family kind of friendly, You Gotta Be Kidding Me.
With kitty cats.
With kitty cats. I mean, who doesn't love kitty cats? Come on.
All right. So, Justin, is there anything else you want to talk about today while I got you here?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously I love all of this stuff. I think for those that are Ascension fans out there, we have some big stuff coming for Ascension this year. For those that are familiar with our Dreamscape expansion, we released several years ago, is one of our more popular ones that had the Insight mechanic. This year we're returning to the Dreamscape, and we have 2 sets that are going to utilize and do twists on that mechanic. So really a lot of exciting things coming out. Of course, our World Championships coming at Gen Con. So that Ascension has been a monster and continues to grow, and we have a lot of cool stuff, including some new crazy products that I'm not even allowed to announce yet, along with this new stuff. So
can you tell us anything about them?
Well, let's just say that this year we're doing a lot of taking people's favorite mechanics and things that they've been requesting for years and making them. So if you have guesses out there and you want to post those on social media, I will give you maybe some more hints about whether you're right or wrong. And it's always fun. And listen, I want to just say to your audience, as I try to every time I get to talk to the public and players, is like I'm so grateful to be able to get to do what I do because you guys play these games. I make the games I want to play, and there's enough of you out there that feel the same. And so it's just a real privilege. So thank you guys for playing, and I'll keep making stuff.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us today, Justin. We
Awesome.
really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And thank all of you for watching at home. Stay tuned for more coverage coming throughout the day today from the Gama convention here in Reno, Nevada. And also stay tuned for the Shards of Infinity giveaway we're going to be doing live on the stream sometime next week when we get back into our home studio base. But for now, signing off, I'm Matt. Thanks again, Justin. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.